morning, guys. It's Beth from Mountainview Wildlife, and I'd like to share with you this morning our newest late intake that we got late last night. We got a call for a barred owl that was on this guy's porch for about 24 hours. And she's watching me. Now, I know you guys have heard of barred owls. They're all over Kentucky, northeastern United States, and some down into southern Canada. They are carnivores. They feast on mice and rats and all kinds of bugs and things that they can fly around and get in the night. Now, if you're in the woods late in the evenings and you hear a "who cooks for you?" then that would be this little creature right here. You won't hear him fly. If you've ever heard of an owl take off, or if you've ever seen an owl take off, you're not gonna hear it. They're super quiet, super stealthy, and they are so pretty. Coming in at about 19-20 inches, weighing in at about 1.5 pounds. They're not super heavy. They're mostly all feathers, but they are beautiful. Those great big eyes just staring at me. We took it in last night and preparing it for the travel time today to a different facility. We do not rehabilitate owls. We do not rehabilitate birds. Owls specifically, you need to carry a federal permit in order to do so. We specialize in mammals, mostly deer, but we will take in birds and stabilize them until we can get them to the proper facility where they will be rehabilitated and hopefully released close to where they were found. Now, this little guy is headed to Letcher County today to a Mitchum Whitaker, and we'll get some video of that facility later today. That'll be exciting. But we took it in, we rehydrated it some with about 15-20 cc's of water, and then wolfed down 3 very large raw chicken livers. He presented with a left wing just kind of dangling, and he had been on this guy's porch for almost 24 hours. So he presented in need of some help, and they were kind enough to drive him an hour to our facility so we could stabilize him and get him ready for transport today. So we'll get him loaded. We've already taken the food and water out to get him prepped and ready. We're gonna cover the cage with a blanket so she doesn't get super stressed out on another travel trip today, and then we'll get it settled in the new facility. So see you soon. And I just arrived here in Letcher County Extension Office to meet Mr. Mitchum Whitaker. We're going to get an update on the barred owl that we brought to him a couple weeks ago and kind of see how she's doing and what she's been up to and what her prognosis is and possibly a release date. So let's go. Today we had the opportunity to come back up to the Letcher County Extension Office with Mr. Mitchum Whitaker here, who we transported the barred owl to. Now we came back today because he's going to give us the opportunity to get an update on how she's been doing, how good she's been eating, how her wing is progressing, the prognosis for her, and basically what he has planned for her throughout her life. Potential release or non-release. We'll get to take a gander at his facility and see how he's got everything set up, and we'll get to maybe take a sneak peek at her.
That sounds great to me, Beth.
Okay, let's go.
Welcome again to the Letcher County Wildlife Center. We're in our main facility here where we keep the birds. We have about 8 stalls in here. As you'll notice, each one of the birds are actually in stalls that are about 12 by 12. We do have movable walls here to where we're able to make stalls bigger and larger. But for this particular bird, he's a barred owl, and he seems to have a injury to one of his wings. And he's been progressing, been doing really good. Again, he's eating on his own. When we get these birds in, these are wild animals, and we don't want to really spend a lot of time checking. We want to get these birds back calm. So a lot of times, as Beth brought the barred owl in, we actually leave them alone for a while. We give them food and everything that they need, but relieving that stress of a human being around them is a big part of it. So most of the time, we don't bring the public out to this facility. We do take the birds out to programs and stuff, but most of the time when they're in rehab, we leave them back in here all by themselves. If you'll give me just a second, I'll go in and get him and bring him out and let you get a closer look at him and see how he's doing.
That sounds great.
Well, look here, he's right at the door.
He's right at the door waiting on us. so far, while you've had him in your rehabilitation facility, were you able to sex him, her? Do we know maybe?
With birds of prey, the males and females are identical. It's hard to tell them apart from each other. So the only way we can tell the difference between males and females are by their weight and by their size.
Okay.
The females are usually about 25% bigger than the males. Now, looking at the size of this guy, and we do know that he's not an immature bird, which means these birds get as big as they're going to get in about 3 months.
Okay.
Well, listen to him.
Yeah.
From the time they're born, about 3 months later, they're as big as their parents. They're as big as they're ever going to be.
Really?
So they're sort of like chickens. They really get really big really fast.
Yeah.
By looking and weighing at this guy, we think he's a male. Now, sometimes they do cross over. You have small females and big males.
Right.
But again, and I want everyone to notice some of the tools that this guy has that helps him to survive. We noticed the big disc around his eyes. That's really not part of his supervision. That's actually part of his super hearing. These guys, their ear holes, they're not located on the sides of their head like us humans.
Right.
They're located right under their eyes.
Really?
So when they hear a sound, they look in that direction. With those big discs, they funnel it around and amplify the sound. So just these feathers around here serve a big purpose.
Yeah.
These guys do have supervision as well. They can see a mile away, you know.
Now, with owls, I remember as a youngster being taught that their actual eyeballs took up the majority of the space in their skull. Is that correct?
Yes, and something else, that their eyes do not shift from side to side like
That's why they move
I'm
their
doing.
head, right?
Yes, they have to move it so their eyes are mounted straight. So
what is the circumference that they can rotate their head?
well, now most people think they can rotate them, they can spin them around. They really can't spin them all the way around. The range is about 270 degrees, but think about us humans. We can turn our head 180. Imagine if you could turn your head just a little bit more,
Right.
you'd be able to see all the way around you just like these guys do.
Right.
Some of their other tools they have, if you'll notice, a barred owl is called a barred owl because he has that bar of feathers right underneath his chin. But this is part of his camouflage outfit.
Right.
If you'll
You're
notice,
not going
he's
to be able to see him up in the trees.
yes. You know, Beth, I've been looking at them before through binoculars, and they'll be sitting on a tree, and you'll see their pretty chest, and then all of a sudden they'll turn around on that branch, and you lose them while you're looking at them. And one last thing, guys, that these animals are able to really, I'm not going to get my finger too close to this guy, but if you'll notice, these guys do have needle-sharp claws.
Yeah.
And they use these to hold their prey while they're eating. They use to hold these animals down. If you'll notice, he even has hair on his feet. Now, most hawks and eagles don't have that. Owls have this fur on their feet to keep every bit of them silenced as they're flying through the night air.
That's why you don't hear them. And they're so reclusive. Most people don't get the opportunity to even see them.
And the crooked beak there that we see as well. You know, these animals, they don't eat bird seed or strawberries or grass. They eat other animals, yes. And that's even a unique survival tool, Beth, because by eating those live animals, owls and hawks and eagles don't really have to drink water. If you was to look in our facilities here, you'd see a pan of water, but it's for them to bathe. They get all their liquid that they need to survive from those animals that they eat. Some of your listeners may have seen the owl pellets before, and that's where they actually regurgitate the hair and the bone. Yes,
I think you have some here too,
yes,
right?
Yes, we have, sir. And these hairs are made into little pellets that they regurgitate up each night after they have got all the liquid that they need from these plants. So
This is basically just hair and bones, right?
Yes,
and they
yes.
digest everything else.
everything else they use.
I can see little pieces of bone in there.
Oh yes, when you
really
start
neat.
taking them apart, they're just full of stuff. But again, these are all survival tools to help these guys to survive. Supervision, super hearing, camouflage outfit, silent flying, no dream work. But even with all these survival tools, Beth, 4 out of 5 of these guys don't survive their first year.
Really?
4 out of 5. So that's why these animals are protected. It's against the law for us to hunt them or shoot them or trap them or anything.
Now, you even have to carry a specific federal permit in order to rehabilitate these, correct?
Yes. I work through the Letcher County Extension Office. We go out and do the programs for schools and stuff like that, and we have the facility where you brought the owl up to. And again, can't thank Mountainview enough for what they've done for us this time.
Well, we've got to stick together and save the wildlife.
And thank you so much.
Well, we thank our listeners and our viewers for seeing our update on our beautiful barred owl. Prognosis with him or her?
We don't think he'll be able to be released back out into the wild, but he will become a great program bird for us. We don't want to send these guys out unless they're really able. You know, it's tough enough surviving out there when everything's working for them.
Right.
So if they have any little thing, and again, we leave that to our veterinarian. He makes all those decisions for us. I'd like to keep them all, but he lets us know what can be done and what can't. These animals are protected and they're out in the woods and stuff. A lot of kids and a lot of adults have never seen one of these guys up this close to get to see. You know, you see them whiz by, but you don't get a look at them.
If you're lucky to see them whiz by, they're so reclusive and sneaky.
And these guys are in the dark. Most of the time, you don't even get to see that. You know, you just hear them. Ooh. This guy's been with us for a while. I hope you can get a good look at him. There was yesterday's dinner. But this is one of the red-tailed hawks that we've had here for quite a while. It looks like he's a little wet where he's been taking a bath. But again, this bird has a little bit of wing damage on this left side. He can still fly a little bit, but not enough to survive out in the wild. So been with us for a while. As you'll see, he does have the mature red tail feathers. He is a smaller one. He's a male. Sometimes the males usually will go a little under 1,000 grams, and the females are usually a little over that. If you'll notice, this guy's got a swelled up chest. That means he's just got finished eating. They crop up just like chickens do, and it looks like he swallowed a baseball. But out in the wild, they would have normally, after he eat like this, he would climb up in the top of a tree and just sit there till it digests and wait till tomorrow.
Eat and take a nap.
Yep, they eat and take a nap, and again, he really doesn't need me. He would rather me just throw the food in here and walk back out. Some of our birds do stay here a while, and then, you know, these birds do. This is not the ideal situation. They'd much rather be out in the woods, hitting a different tree every time. You know, these are perches, and they stay right in here all the time. But again, these birds would have normally have been euthanized had it not been for the educational purpose of getting to keep them. These are just a couple of the birds that we've rescued here at the program. We've been through, I used to keep track of how many we did, and now it's just got so many, you know, it's just, it's in the thousands, so we're really tickled. And the thing about it is, it's the ones that we have right now, those are the ones we can use. These are the ones that we take out to all the programs, and we just try to make it as good as we can for them here in captivity, you know.
Well, that is wonderful, and we certainly appreciate you. Well, Mitch, I think we've had a wonderful day with you today. We're so excited to see the update on the barred owl and how good it's really doing, and we are so appreciative of the fact that you were able to take him in, and really give it a better chance than what it would have had. So we're very appreciative of you. We thank you.
Well, we want to thank you too, Beth. You actually transported up here to us, and getting to work with Mountainview Wildlife Center and the Letcher County Wildlife Center is always a great partnership.
Well, if we partner together, we can save the wildlife. Now remember, guys, when you find an orphaned, abandoned, injured wildlife, please don't take it in. Get on Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife's website, look up local rehabilitators that's closest to you, and give us a call. We know how to handle these animals, and it'll prevent you from getting hurt or potentially causing more stress to the animal. But thank you to the fellow that called us the night before the owl and transported it to me so we could get it into the proper care. That's what it's all about.
Both of our information is on the website.
It is.
So
it is.
Please contact us.
Thank you so much, guys.